Next question. X Limited is considering a project for which following information is given. Purchase price of the machinery is 3,30,000. Life of the machinery is 2 years. Method of depreciation is SLM. Income tax rate is only 40%. Discounting rate cost of capital is 25%. Per unit selling price is 80. Per unit variable cost is 30. Number of units sold in the first year is 16,000. In the second year it is 18,000. Annual fixed cost is 1,20,000. Expected salvage value of asset at the end of the second year of the useful life is 30,000. That is a working capital requirement of 25,000. First and second year discounting factor is given, and the question is whether the project should be accepted. That is a question. Everybody is requested to go through the question, please. Dear students, at this point of time, all of you must have understood that say we have discussed the techniques like NPV, NPV index, IRR, profitability index, discounted payback period, and ARR. These are the techniques that say we have discussed so far. My question to all of you is that say from these techniques that I have discussed with you, which one or more than one technique that can be applied in this question for the purpose of decision making? For the purpose of decision making, in this question, either you can adopt NPV criteria or NPV index criteria or IRR criteria or PI criteria. One of the four criteria can be adopted by you for the purpose of decision making. Suppose a student called A is adopting NPV criteria, then what he will write that sir NPV is positive, so the project should be accepted. Suppose there is a student called B and she is adopting NPV index criteria. Then in that case, if NPV index is positive, then she will write answer that the project should be accepted. There is another student called C and that student is adopting IRR criteria. Then if IRR is greater than cost of capital, then that student will write the project should be accepted. Another student D and that student is adopting PI criteria, then if PI is greater than 1, then in that case that student will write the answer that yes, the project should be accepted. This is the way you can adopt one of the four criteria for the purpose of decision making. Can you adopt the discounted payback period criteria for decision making? The answer is no, because the question does not provide a standard payback period for the purpose of decision making. Can you adopt the payback period criteria? The answer is no, because the question does not provide the information about the time period in which you want to recover the investment from the project. Can you adopt ARR criteria? The answer is no. Why? Because the question does not provide us that what is the minimum rate at which you want the return. That is the reason say we cannot adopt discounted payback period criteria or payback period criteria or ARR criteria for decision making, and one of these criteria can be adopted for the purpose of decision making. So we can draw a conclusion that for the purpose of decision making with respect to single project evaluation, for the purpose of decision making with respect to single project evaluation, we can adopt one of the four criteria for the purpose of decision making, and all four of them will give the same conclusion. If at all somebody is adopting IRR criteria and he or she is writing the answer that the project should be accepted, then other student will also have the same decision. The decision will never change based on the criteria that we adopt for decision making. Now generally we adopt NPV criteria for the purpose of decision making. The only reason that it is simple to apply. There is no other technical reason. If a student is having a kind of question to ask me that, sir, can I use the PI criteria? Answer is yes. Can I use IRA criteria? Answer is yes. Can I use NPV index criteria? Answer is yes. However, usually we are adopting NPV criteria for the purpose of decision making. That is what we understand. Now, when I say that we are required to adopt the NPV criteria, then something like this will occur in your mind, will come in your mind is that year 0, year 1, year 2. I think that's the life of the project is 2 years. We have to make the preparation of the cash flow series over this time period of the 2 years. That what is the net cash flow over this time period of the 2 years? It will be discounted at the rate of 25%. We'll make the computation of the present value, and based on that, we can make the calculation of NPV of the project. So this is what something that comes in our mind. So basically we understand that so far the questions that we have done, in that we have understood all the techniques. Now we are going to have more focus on the calculation of the cash flow, because execution of the technique is not something which is very difficult. That is what we have experienced so far. Decision making is not so difficult. That is what we have understood so far. However, the important point in the chapter of the capital budgeting which we are going to understand is the preparation of the cash flow series. This is what now we are going to understand. Okay, now how to make the calculation of the cash flow series, let us understand. Generally, for the purpose of NPV calculation, I suggest students to adopt 5 steps for the purpose of decision making. There are 5 steps which I am suggesting generally for the purpose of decision making. Don't write anything, let me explain to you. Step number 1 would be the investment. Step number 2 would be depreciation. Step number 3 will be terminal cash flow. Step number 4 is recurring cash flow. And step number 5 is NPV. These are the 5 steps that we have. How to execute each of the step, how to make calculation of each of the step, that is what we are going to understand over here in this question. And generally, these are the steps which are required to be followed for the purpose of calculation of answer. There may be 1 or 2 questions in which we will be having some the changes in it, but generally these are the steps which we are supposed to follow for the purpose of decision making. How they are executed, that is what I am explaining to you. But before that, I am dictating a note for the points that I have discussed so far. Of course, this note is not forming part of the answer. It is only for the purpose of understanding. So first of all, I dictate a note to you, and then we will execute the steps. Almost for every step, again I am going to dictate a note to you, but that is for understanding purpose. We don't have to write any note in examination. Straight you have to write answer. If your answer is correct, then in that case, definitely the paper checker would understand that you have understood the concept. Now write down answer for the question. In that, write down first point. This is a question of single project evaluation. Full stop. Over here, for decision making, we can adopt one of the following criteria. A. NPV. B. NPV index. C. PI. D. IRR. Second point, we cannot adopt payback period or discounted payback period criteria for decision making because standard payback period is not given. Full stop. Similarly, we cannot adopt ARR criteria for decision making because standard rate of return is not given. Next point, for NPV calculation, comma, generally we will adopt following steps. In that, write down step number 1, investment. Step number 2, depreciation. Step number 3, terminal cash flow. Step number 4, recurring cash flow. Step number 5, NPV calculation. So this is a general note. So the first point is the criteria, the second point is reasoning, and third point is steps. Now we are starting with the answer. Heading right down, calculation of NPV of the project. In that, write down step number 1, investment. I want any of you to tell me from the given information what is the amount of the investment to be made in year 0 when we initiate the project. Dear students, in step number 1 we will compute the amount of the investment to be made in the year 0. That is consisting of two investment. One is the purchase price of the machinery and another is the working capital investment. As far as the working capital is concerned, that is indicating the difference of the current assets and current liabilities, and that is the amount of the investment to be made in the year 0. So as far as the investment is concerned, in that we will have purchase price of machinery, that is an amount of 3,30,000 plus working capital investment, the working capital investment is 25,000. So this is the way we make the computation of the investment to be made. It is 3,55,000. This is the investment in the year 0. That is step number 1, investment. Step number 2, depreciation. Before I dictate the step number 2, let us write down a small note for the answer. Investment in that write down. In this step, we compute amount of investment to be made in year 0. Full stop. It is consisting of capital investment and working capital, that is current assets net of current liabilities. Step number 2, depreciation. I want you to tell me what is the amount of annual depreciation. So step number 2, depreciation. In that write down. First of all, I am reading the information. Method of depreciation is given to us. Straight line method of depreciation. Time period is 2 years and scrap value is 30,000 at the end of the second year. So depreciation is found as cost minus scrap value divided by number of years. What is cost of the machinery? 3,30,000. What is scrap value? 30,000. And so it is for how many years? It is 2 years. So in that case, rupees 1,50,000 per year. This is the way, so we make the computation of the depreciation on annual basis. Now calculation of the depreciation is done. Now there are certain queries to which I come across number of times. The first query that I come across say sometimes is that, sir, in the income tax that we study, that is only WDV method of depreciation which is acceptable. So how they have provided over here SLM? Then giving answer for that question. See, over here we have to understand that say that the method of the depreciation is acceptable from tax point of view is given to us in the question. In absence of information, we assume that whatever the method of depreciation given to us in the question is acceptable from tax point of view. Further, we understand over here like this. Listen carefully. If at all we have been provided with more than one method of depreciation, then in that case the method of depreciation acceptable from tax point of view will be taken into account for the purpose of calculation of answer. One more query to which I come across is that, sir, basically we are interested to know the cash flows. We want to know the cash flows from the project, and depreciation is a non-cash item. Then why do we compute the depreciation? Giving reply to that question. Yes, depreciation is a non-cash item. However, depreciation is an allowable expense from tax point of view. Since it is an allowable expense from tax point of view, so we make the computation of the depreciation for the purpose of calculation of the correct income tax. If at all we have been provided with information that say you have to ignore tax, then in that case we will ignore depreciation also. Read an answer. D stands for depreciation. C stands for cost of machinery. SV stands for scrap value, or it is also called salvage value of machinery, and N is number of years. In this, write down with paragraph. First point, depreciation is a non-cash item. Comma, so apparently it is not required to be calculated. However, it is an allowable expense from income tax point of view. So for correct tax calculation, depreciation is calculated. Second point, in any question, comma, if we have to ignore tax, comma, then ignore depreciation also. Third point, whatever method given in question is assumed to be acceptable from tax point of view. Full stop. If at all we have been given more than one method, comma, then we have to consider method from tax point of view. For depreciation calculation. Full stop. Step number 3, terminal cash flow. Now let us have understanding that say what do we understand with the term terminal cash flow. See, the word terminal means something which is coming to an end. That is what we understand is called terminal. So terminal cash flow means the amount of the cash flow that you receive when the project is terminated, when the project is over. As far as the terminal cash flow is concerned, it will be computed like this. First of all, we will prepare working note number 1, calculation of capital gain or capital loss on sale of machinery. Because what will happen at the end of the second year, when the project is over, at that point of time you will sell the machinery. Why? Because its useful life is over. So at that point of time we are required to compute the capital gain or loss. Sale value of the machinery is provided to us at the end of the second year, an amount of 30,000. Less return down value. We know that say 3,30,000 is the price at which we had purchased the machinery. Amount of depreciation that say we have charged is 1,50,000 on annual basis. So it is 1,50,000 for the first year and 1,50,000 for the second year. So after claiming depreciation for 2 years, the WDV of the machinery is again 30,000. Sale value and WDV are same. So what is the amount of the capital gain or capital loss? It is an amount of 0. If at all there is a capital gain, then in that case we have to consider the tax payment on the capital gain, and if at all there is a capital loss, then we have to consider tax savings on the capital loss. Working note number 2, or we can say that directly we can write terminal cash flow. As far as the terminal cash flow is concerned, it will be found like this. The first is scrap value of the machinery, which we are going to receive at the end of second year. That is an amount of 30,000. Because when the project is terminated, when the life of the project is over, whatever the machinery which we had purchased for the purpose of manufacturing of the product, it will be sold and you receive an amount of 30,000. Plus working capital recovery. Dear students, we make an assumption that say whatever the working capital that we had invested in the business, that would be recovered when the project is terminated. Means whatever the stock that we have, it must be sold. Whatever the data that we have, from that so the amount is collected. Whatever the creditors that say we have to them, the payment is made. So there is recovery of the working capital 25,000. And this is what say we are going to receive at the end of the second year when the project is over. If at all there is any capital gain or loss tax effect, it is required to be considered. But over here, neither of that effect is there. So we understand that the terminal cash flow means that when the project is over, you receive an amount of 55,000. And this is the cash inflow, importantly, at the end of the second year. This is what we understand. This is the way, says step number 3, terminal cash flow is found. Write an answer for the question. In terminal cash flow, write down first point. First one, write down. Terminal cash flow means an amount of cash flow at the end of the project. Second point, usually terminal cash flow is consisting of A, scrap value of machinery, in bracket I am writing cash inflow. B, working capital recovery in cash inflow. C, capital gain or loss tax effect. Third point, most importantly, an assumption is made that entire working capital will be recovered at the end of the project. Full stop. Debtors are realized, comma, stock is sold off, comma, creditors are paid off. Full stop. I request all of you to write the working note number 1. Step number 4. Recurring cash flow. Recurring cash flow will be calculated for first year and second year. Recurring cash flow means the amount of the cash flow that we are able to receive, say from the business, that is called the recurring cash flow. I want you to calculate the recurring cash flow for the first year. Try to do answer on your own, then I will do working for you. So let us see that say how to make the calculation of answer. I request all of you to start writing that answer along with me. First of all, we will start with the sales. We can see that say in the first year we are going to produce and sell 16,000 number of units and selling price per unit is 80. So 16,000 units that we are going to produce and sell in the first year and selling price is 80. That comes to 12,80,000. Variable cost, again 16,000 number of units into variable cost is 30. So this comes to 4,80,000. Then there is cash fixed cost. Cash fixed cost is 1,20,000. Then depreciation. Amount of depreciation is 1,50,000. All these expenses will be deducted from revenue. 12,80,000 minus 4,80,000 minus 1,20,000 minus 1,50,000. So profit before income tax is 5,30,000. Income tax rate is provided to us as 40%. So whatever we have earned, out of that 40% is paid in form of income tax. So profit after taxes would be 60% value. That comes to 3,18,000. We know that the depreciation is a non-cash item. So it is added back to the profit after taxes in order to make the calculation of the cash flow after taxes. That is an amount of 4,68,000. This is the way CFAT will be calculated from year 1 to year 4. For the first year. Try to calculate the CFAT for the second year on your own. We understand that the depreciation is added to the profit after taxes because it is a non-cash item. For the second year, the sales quantity is 18,000. So we understand that it is 18,000 into 80. That comes to 14,40,000. Then it is 18,000 into 30. That comes to 5,40,000. Cash fixed cost is 1,20,000. Depreciation is again 150. Deducting all expenses from revenue, we find PBT, profit before taxes, 6,30,000. 40% is tax. Writing it and deducting it does not make a sense. So directly we compute the PAT. Add back depreciation. Why? Because it is a non-cash item. So CFAT is 5,28,000. This is the way CFAT is calculated. Now step number 5 is NPV. I want you to make the calculation of NPV on your own. Step number 5, calculation of NPV. Try to do answer on your own. Let us see how to make the calculation of NPV. We start with the cash flows. At the end of the first year, 468. At the end of the second year, 528. Plus scrap value of the machinery to be received at the end of the second year will be scrap value, and that is working capital recovery. That is considering everything. The amount of the terminal cash flow is 55,000. So plus 55,000. So 528 plus 55,000. So 5,83,000. Discounting at the rate of 25%. Factors have been given to us in the question. 80 paise for the first year and 64 paise for the second year. Present value 468 into 0.8. So 3,74,400. 5,83,000 into 0.64. 3,73,120. Total of both of them is present value of the cash inflow 7,47,520 less investment, which we have computed in our very first step. So we can see that the amount of the investment that we have computed is 3,55,000. This is year 0 cash outflow. So the investment is 3,55,000. And difference of both of them is NPV. The amount of the investment is of year 0, so it is not subject to any discounting. So the NPV is 3,92,520. This is the way the NPV of the project can be found. So we understand that since NPV of the project is positive, the project should be accepted. So the final answer is decision as NPV is positive, comma, the project should be accepted. This is the way we have to write the decision. Now friends, all of you can very well understand calculation of the PI is also very simple. 7,47,520 upon 3,55,000, and you can see that the PI can be calculated. NPV upon investment, NPV index can also be found, and based on that, say if at all you take the decision, you will have the same decision. Of course, going with the IRR is slightly time consuming, but IRR would be more than 25%. Why? Because at 25% NPV is positive, so for the purpose of reducing NPV, you have to increase the cost of capital. So IRR is more than 25%, and based on the IRR also, the project would be accepted. So by all the 4 criteria, you would be having the same decision. I am giving you a quick revision of the entire answer. Step number 1, in that we understand it's the investment, purchase price of the machinery and working capital investment. Step number 2, depreciation, cost minus scrap value divided by number of years, annually 1,50,000. Step number 3, terminal cash flow. In that say there is a small working note that we prepare first of all. The working note is that what is the amount of the capital gain or loss on sale of the asset. It is 0 in this example. And then second, terminal cash inflow, that is simple scrap value of the machinery, and say we understand that say we have importantly working capital recovery. In my opinion, that this is something which is important, and students like me may commit mistake over here, so just be careful. Step number 4 onwards, I don't think that it is very difficult. Step number 4 is recurring cash flow. Simple. You compute the profit, then you add back depreciation, which is a non-cash item. In step number 5, the future cash flows that you are going to receive is discounted in present value term, and from that investment is deducted to calculate NPV. Final decision is that as NPV of the project is positive, the project should be accepted. This is the way we take a decision.